Hi, I'm Tracey Trottenberg, and I am so excited to welcome you to the second video in our series called Own, Honor, and Unleash. This video is all about you honoring your journey. Now, let me give you a quick recap about what happened in the first video, which is all about you owning your juiciness, your power, your strength, your presence, what you know inside that you're meant for. Ultimately really about you owning your magnificence and your greatness, because when you do that, that's the greatest service that you could give to others, which I know is what you really want as a speaker, as a leader, as a messenger, fulfilling your purpose, your God work, your calling. You really want to be used for that. You want to be of service. Well, the greatest way is to own your greatness and your magnificent. Part of how you do that, you got to close that gap inside the gap. That's got to be worked on. It's not, it's a work in progress. It's not like you do it once and you're done. There's work to be done, but just the fact that you're doing that, which I assume that you are because I'm sure that you're doing your assignments, then you're ahead of the game because you're focused on that, you're conscious of that, and you're doing that work so that today you can be the woman, the speaker, the leader that you know that you want to be. You can claim who you are today, which is going to move you faster and closer to where you want to continue to be and grow. So that's what we did in the first video. Now this video is all about you honoring your journey. And in order to do that, there are three specific things that I want to talk with you about. Number one is about celebrating. Now, for some reason as women, we tend not always to be that great at celebrating. It's like something has to be huge, or, there's got to be something that makes that thing enough that's worth celebrating. And I want to challenge you to not be like that, but instead to see every little step, as something to celebrate, because that's what harnesses your power and creates more potency. Whereas when you're constantly going after the next thing and not taking a moment to acknowledge where you are and what you've accomplished, you're actually diminishing your power. And you know that this whole thing is about you really being in your power, in your purpose, and in your presence in the strongest way that you can, in the most authentic, aligned, and congruent way. So celebrating is key, and you have to create some kind of a ritual around it because it's a new habit for the most part and for most of us. So for you, I would love for you to every day just take a few minutes, write down 3 to 5 accomplishments that you have in that one day. And you can even do it multiple times a day, because when you do that, that's where you put your attention. Now I want to say something. Everything that I'm saying here doesn't mean, again, you'll hear me say this a lot, doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. Doesn't mean that you just have to be, always on or always at your highest game. Sometimes the thing that you'll celebrate, the thing that you'll acknowledge is just getting out of bed. And I want you to know that I get it. I have had a number of days like that. I get it. But I want you to acknowledge whatever it is, small or large, because that's going to be potent for you, okay? And when you champion yourself like that, then you can do that for others. But if you're just out there cheering everybody else on and you're not celebrating you, you are not congruent. You're not. And people are going to smell it. They're going to know that about you. They're going to feel that something's off, okay? But when you do this, you're in greater alignment. The second thing about celebration that I really want for you to take in and take on is this. As women, we tend to, and see where you fit in this, you might feel that you will compare or are competitive with other people. You don't mean to, with other women in particular. You don't mean to. I mean, none of us mean to, but you might find that if you're in a situation and you're looking like somebody else has more, somebody else is better, or that there's only one and you both got to go for it. And sometimes as women, we feel like we got to climb over each other. There's just not enough. And I want to let you know that that's not true. That's not true. And I want you to be the kind of woman that celebrates other women. Here at Amazing Women International, which is our company, our organization, our community, what we say is that when one woman celebrates and one woman succeeds, we all succeed. And I want you to be that kind of woman. So I want you to go out, celebrate the kids, celebrate the men, celebrate other people for sure. but please celebrate other women. And if you find that there's a woman that's doing that thing, like she's on that stage, she got the gig, she's something, and it's what you want, celebrate her. That's like the $1 million bonus, celebrate her. And just know that as you do that, you're getting closer. Just because she has it doesn't mean that you can't. Okay, so really take on celebrating yourself and celebrating others, especially other women. The second thing that I want you to really take on in order to honor your journey is integration. I am incredibly passionate about this, and I'm just going to say a little bit now and give you some very specific things, but just so you know, I could talk for weeks about this because this is one of my absolute core beliefs and passions and skills and what I do with my clients all the time, which is this. It's critical that you integrate the totality of who you are and that you learn how to connect the dots from all the different things that you've done along your journey. I see a lot of women, for example, that go out into their entrepreneurial business, living their purpose, getting out on stage as a speaker, sharing their message and story, and not necessarily including or bringing in everything that they had done before. Maybe it's a corporate background that you have, maybe another kind of professional background or stuff that you've done, and maybe you don't see exactly how it relates to what you're doing now, but I want to tell you that in some way or another, it often does. Even if it's not a direct connection or a direct correlation, what it does when you integrate and embrace the totality of who you are, it builds your confidence and it builds your credibility. And I want you to really hear that. It builds your credibility so that people get the breadth of what you've done, what you bring to the table, your special sauce, even if it doesn't seem directly related to what you're doing now. I see too many women that leave this off. It's like they're siphoning off parts of them and leaving money on the table, and I don't want that for you. Okay, so it's very, very important that you start to recognize, you learn how to do this. There are ways to be very strategic about this. I do a lot of work with this with my clients. When you're speaking, when you're leading, when you're sharing, when you're doing your business actually, that you know how to integrate and how to speak to the totality of who you are and what you bring to the table. That means your professional background. That also means your personal journey. That means your heart. That means bringing all of you so that people know who you are. They can connect with you more deeply and they can get your credibility on all fronts. And mostly you get your credibility, which means, again, you're not, diffusing your power, you're harnessing your power and the fullness of who you are as a speaker, as a leader, and as a woman. So that's the second part. The third part that I really want you to take on in order to honor your journey is this. We have what I call sacred contracts that we connect with people. Maybe it's our family, maybe it's our culture, maybe it's other women, that are often around wounds, suffering, problems. And I want you to break those sacred contracts. Now, it's not like you walk around or your family didn't say, hey, let's always identify ourselves with the problems or the challenges. Or it's not like we do that with other women or other people in our community. It's what happens on an unconscious level. And I want to bring this into your consciousness so that you can break that up and be different. Because when you do, again, this makes you more potent. This brings more of you to the forefront. And it has people want to be around you. So when you walk into an event or a networking situation or you're in conversation, don't complain. Don't compare problems. Don't talk about the traffic. Don't be like wound bonding. And don't identify yourself exclusively with the negatives in your story. What I want you to do instead is to turn it around and find the gifts and find the gold and become that person. Grow that muscle, build it, where you become the person that looks for the gold and the gifts in every situation. And look, you might be thinking, oh, I know that. I do that already. Just check, because if you're doing it just from here up, you're not embodying it. And I want you to embody it because that's where your potency is, okay? So I say this to my clients all the time. When you become a speaker, when you really step into embracing who you are as a messenger and a speaker, and you really say, I'm in, it's like you get a new pair of glasses that you get to look at everything that's ever happened to you in your life. And when you choose to be this conscious, when you choose to honor the spiritual part of you that knows there's a higher good and a higher purpose, This is what this looks like, by the way. As you put on these new glasses and you dig and you do the work, again, it's not years of therapy. It's not years of processing. Thank goodness for that. It's about finding the gold, honoring, yes, there was pain, honor that, honor the challenge, and then find the gift, find how it helped you grow, because that's what you're here to teach. The way I say it is you go from pain to promise. And when you can do that within yourself, then you can do that for others. And that's what people want. So become very mindful about what you're focused on, what comes out of your mouth, and what you're all about, so that you're honoring the goodness of your journey and you're breaking the sacred contracts. So I really want you to take all this on, and I'm trusting that you are here because you are doing that. So let me give you, again, these assignments that you have. And again, I mean, I could give you so many examples, but what's most interesting is you. So let's do the work for and on you. Number one, it's really, really key that you celebrate. So create a ritual, make a point every day, even a couple of times a day, to acknowledge any step, small or large, any accomplishment, any victory, anything, celebrate it. And I invite you to celebrate it with someone. And when you see a woman doing what you want to do, or having what you want to have, or being who you want to be, don't compare, don't compete. Instead, celebrate her as well. You watch, that is like, that's like jet fuel. You know what I'm saying? So go for that. Integrate. I want you to really look at how you speak about yourself, your bio. This is all the work that I do with my clients, and we really dive into this, but I want you to just start to look at whether it's in your bio, your website, when you introduce yourself, how you speak about yourself, and just see if there's some key points that you've left out, and be strategic about it. You got to know how to connect those dots, okay? But it's really important, because when you start to bring the fullness of who you are, then you start to build your credibility, and people get to see all of who you are, and you get to be that. Again, remember, this is about who you be that we're going for here, so you can really have that kind of presence. And the third is to really look at what are some of those sacred contracts and take on breaking them. It means changing your story. It means singing a different tune. It means when you go to an event that you're really conscious. When you're networking, you're conscious about what's coming out of your mouth, even when you go to the grocery store or the coffee shop. Be the person that can find the good and the gold, not just from here up, not just conceptually, but like really mean it. Because you understand that this is a journey where everything here is for your good, it's for your growth, it's all for God, it's all for your God work, it's all for what you're about. Again, whatever word you put in, just make it work for you. But do the work, okay? And when you do that, you are honoring your journey. And that is delicious, okay? Now, do your assignment, and then the next video is about unleashing. So we are going to talk about what it takes, and we're going to go deeper on this. We're going to talk about what it really takes for you to unleash your magnificence, your you. And we're going to look at how and get into some juicy stuff. So I can't wait to see you on the next video. Go do your assignment, and thank you for being here. Bye for now.